Last week I uploaded a video showing you how to use a plating feeder on both single and double bed. Today I will show you some design ideas for you to try out. Last Saturday we had the first live stream on Patreon and I showed a few ways in which you can finish off a neckline without needing to add a trim and still look finished and neat. Patrons seemed to have enjoyed the live stream. They were able to chat and ask questions in the live chat. If you would like to join us in the next live stream, join me on Patreon. I will leave a link for it in the description down below. These are the 2 new tiers and we will be having a lot of fun from now on Patreon and I cannot wait. So first design that I will show you is something that your double bed machine can just do. It is called a brioche stitch. My needle setup is a 1x1 rib. All you have to do is to set your machine to do tucks. If you have a brother, all you have to do is to press the left tuck on the main carriage and then press the right cam onto the rubber bed carriage. Also put this little knob into P position. You can see now that all needles will tuck on the main bed when I'm knitting from right to left, and the needles on my rubber bed will tuck when I'm knitting from left to right. What is happening is that the needles will not complete the stitch and the yarn will just lay on top of the needles for one row and then knit for the other row. This will create more volume. And this is how the sample looks. It's super nice. It kind of gives it a softer feel to the fabric, and by using a plating feeder you will get a super nice effect as well. This technique looks great even when you are not using a plating feeder. For the next example, I will transfer to have about 10 stitches on my main bed and then 10 stitches on my rubber bed and then again 10 stitches on the main bed. If you are using a plating feeder, you can create a really nice pattern just by knitting regular rows. If you want to have some fun, you can do some more transfers in between, but the sample will look pretty nice just like that. This is how the sample looks. This is probably the easiest way to create squares. Just use 2 contrast yarns and a plating feeder. You don't need to switch colors or do anything else while knitting it. If you don't have a double bed and wish to achieve the same effect, even if this will be much more time consuming, you can just sew panels together and we'll have some with the purl side facing you and some with the knit side facing you. When I knitted these 3 panels, I had to swap the colors in my plating feeder for the one stripe in the middle. And then I swapped them again to have my last stripe the same as the first stripe. You can have a plain, make the panels different width, or even make the stripes unequal. I'm sure you can find some ways to have a bit of fun with this idea. If you don't have a linker, you can also sew them by hand as well, but obviously that will make the process that much slower. And this is how the sample looks, just like the one knitted on double bed, but slower. For the next example, cast on 10 stitches, I have all needles in action on my rubber bed and 2 stitches in action on my main bed. Also have 2 each side. You don't need these 2, they are just extra stitches. To begin, I'm going to count 6 stitches each side of these 2. I like to count the stitches like this by pushing the needles into working position, and then I will form 2 new stitches onto the 7th needle. To form a new stitch, just grab the purl bar from the stitches from the rubber bed, do that both sides, and I'm going to make sure to put these needles back into non-working position and knit 2 rows. Transfer these 2 new stitches that we formed towards the middle and knit 2 more rows. Repeat the same process, and now I will again form, just as before, 2 new stitches, and we'll knit 2 more rows. I will continue transferring like this until the first 2 stitches that we formed will fall on top of the 2 needles in the very middle. And then again I will form 2 new stitches just like before. I'm sure if you continue watching you will get how the pattern goes. The idea is that we're forming a new stitch every 6 rows and we keep transferring towards the middle. The pattern is the same from now on, only the beginning when we form the first 2 stitches is a bit different. And this is how the sample looks like. It's super cute, has so many different possibilities in which you can use this design. You can choose to have only 1 stitch in the middle or have some stitches in between the 2 stitches in the middle. There are lots of different options for you to try and have some fun. Last example I will show you is pretty similar. We are just changing the direction of the transfers. Just as before, I have all needles in action on my river bed and 2 in action in the middle on my main bed. I'm going to form, just like before, 2 new stitches each side, leaving 6 from the middle. The stitches that I'll be forming next will fall on top of these 2 stitches. Start by forming 2 new stitches each side of the 2 in the very middle and knit 2 rows. We'll continue transferring until I have 3 stitches in between the new stitches and the 2 in the middle. So now I have 3 stitches in between. I will form 2 new stitches and continue transferring like so. So this is the repeat. Every time you have 3 stitches in between the middle ones and the 2 last ones we formed, we will create 2 more. And then all these stitches will fall onto this 1 stitch onto the side. And this is how the sample looks like. Just as before, you can change it if you like in any way. Just have a play and don't forget to share it with me. If you do so, I have my Instagram linked below. This is another sample that I knitted before just for fun, and I used some of these techniques, and you can see how you can just adjust it to your own preferences. And this is everything for today. I hope you got inspired and you got a couple of ideas to try out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.